How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this week's video. We've been bad, we've not done like 3 weeks or something. Had no ideas. We got an idea now. So today's video is going to be very simple. Big announcement with Star Wars intellectual property going not exclusive to EA anymore. So we're going to chat about that. That's it. It's a response to that and some games we'd like to see. Sound interesting? Good. Intro! So, first off, it's a big deal. EA doesn't have exclusivity on the Star Wars stuff anymore. Woo! They don't have anymore. It's great. Their games have been meh. And they don't give a fuck. Not gonna make good games when they just don't care. So the fact that it is now moved on is fantastic. EA will still be making Star Wars games. But it's not going to just be them. There will be other people now. Under Lucasfilms Gaming, I think is what they're calling it. Now, let's start off with one of the biggest things that EA did. Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 was not a bad game. If you are a Star Wars fan and you like shooters, Battlefront 2 became a really, really good game. Except the important word there is became a good game. It didn't start a good game. It was an absolute shithole of a game to start with. The pay-to-win aspects, the loot boxes, the fact that it was a AAA title that you were paying full price for and still having to pay extra if you want to play people like Darth Vader. What kind of shit was EA even trying to pull? I don't know. But naturally, EA went full EA when it comes to such a thing. And it cost them. It caused a whole insight into everything. Looking into like FIFA and stuff for their ultimate teams and for the loot boxes were classed as gambling and oh god, it was so much. Affected the share price too, which I thought was amazing. So they put the work into it. And after like the Scarif update, I think that was the last major one. They basically went, that's it. There's nothing else coming out. We have finished the game. Let's see. I mean, yeah, you finished the game. Like 2-3 years after it came out, now you're saying it's finished. This is the point you should be adding things on. Which is a shame. I would quite like to see some extra stuff go into it, because playing it, the blasters, the maps, it all looks really good, and it was actually a lot of fun to play. But it took them 3 years after release to get to that point. So, with them losing the rights, I suppose, I'm excited to see what some other companies can go for. So, Ubisoft have the ones that have been announced on an open world Star Wars game. I'm not sure how that would go, personally. There's rumours of it being, or not rumours, people drawing assumptions, shall we say, that it'll be kind of like The Division, but with a Star Wars skin. Now, Ubisoft, to me, have got this really unfortunate reputation of producing mediocre games. Personally. They release mediocre games, and they just keep reskinning it, until we eventually notice that you're releasing the same game over and over again. Go not. And then they'll change it up. You know, Far Cry 1. It was a weird game. It's pretty good, though. Far Cry 2 is a little bit different. Then Far Cry 3, 4, and 5 were all the same. I'm pretty sure New Dawn is exactly the same. The only thing that was a little bit different was Blood Dragon, which was a DLC that wasn't even the actual game. Assassin's Creed. We had the stuff with Altair, which was a little bit rough and a little bit clunky. They refined it with Ezio. And you had all of Ezio's stuff. 3. I want to say Black Flag was the next one, which was different. But then you had Unity and Syndicate. Were pretty much the same as the previous games. And then enough people went, this is a joke, right? You're going to make a new game. And they went, of course. Yeah, why wouldn't we? Origins, here you go. Then Odyssey is a reskin of that, with some slightly refined mechanics, and now Valhalla is a Viking version, with some new things in it. They tend to produce reskinned stuff, so there's a possibility The Division, cross with Star Wars, might happen. Now, some people like Division, others didn't. But a Star Wars looter shooter, I'm not sure is a viable style. I think something along the lines of taking something that's popular just now, in the form of The Mandalorian, cash in on what that style is. You've got Mando, Boba Fett, you had... Fuck, what's Ming-Na Wen's character called again? Fennec Shand, or something like that. It's certainly Fennec. You've got a lot of bounty hunter aspects. Now, bounty hunters are like intergalactic assassins. I wonder if Ubisoft did any game that could potentially be like that we haven't just discussed about, like a minute ago. I think that'd be actually a smarter play for them. Take something that they've already kind of dealt with in the Assassin's Creed style and cross it with Star Wars, and you'd have a bounty hunter game that you could do something similar with. You get an open world, upgrade your ship, upgrade your character, the armor, stuff like that, and you can go hunting targets and whatnot. I think that would make a very, very interesting Star Wars game. Because as I've said previously, in I think other videos and even on stream, because we stream on Twitch every Monday, Tuesday, and either Wednesday or Thursday. We're experimenting with those 2 days. But from 3 o'clock British time, if you want to come check it out, link will be underneath. But I've made it very apparent my love of Star Wars. And the ideas that you could produce from Star Wars in games would work really well. And given that they took Black Flag, they had the ship, they had the gear, you could do something similar but cross it with Star Wars, refine it a bit more, and you could create an interesting game. Because we've had a lot of games that focus on the Force. You've got the Jedi Knight series where you had Outcast and Academy, Dark Forces. You had a lot of the Battlefront games, both the originals and these, were more trooper based, but then you had all the heroes, mostly folk with lightsabers. The online games, back in the day when you had Star Wars Galaxies and the Old Republic itself, you were all focusing on a Jedi. The idea of playing maybe as a bounty hunter in a world with Jedi, I think would be really quite exciting and really quite interesting to see how you would have to go about it, because you could then produce some very difficult combat if, as a gun-toting bounty hunter, you have to somehow pick a fight with a Sith or a Jedi, who, let's be honest, are not going to particularly go down easily. That would be a hell of a fight. That would be difficult, and you would hope that it would pay you well. But going away from the announced Ubisoft thing, some of the games that I would quite like to see some work done with them, or ideas, shall we say. Starting with the obvious, Knights of the Old Republic. I love that game, and I know there's enough fans out there that actually want another one made. You've got people wanting remasters of 1 and 2, people want a third, I want all of the above. I think it could be quite plausible thing. So, my reasoning behind hoping that this might become an actual legit game is, to anyone who is unaware, South Park: The Stick of Truth is a Ubisoft game. They published it, and it was actually remarkably good. If you're a fan of South Park and you like these kind of fantasy games, it was really good. Like, genuinely really good. And it was written by Obsidian. It was developed by Obsidian, who also did the second Knights of the Old Republic game. So Ubisoft already has a prior relationship with Obsidian. However, the second South Park game, The Fractured Butthole, was both developed and published by Ubisoft. So after the first one, it's like they basically turned around to Obsidian and said, okay, we know what we're doing now, we don't need you. So I don't know if there's any kind of animosity there, if the relationship is still good. But given that Obsidian did the second Knights of the Old Republic, BioWare did the first one, they could remaster and actually give Obsidian a chance to finish the game. We're going to remaster Knights of the Republic 2 The Sith Lords. However, we're going to go back to the studio whom we have worked with before and ask them very nicely to finish the game. Remaster it, but add in all that content that you didn't get a chance to because it was rushed. Fix a lot of those bugs, all that kind of thing, but up the graphics to the standard that we're at nowadays. My God, I would throw my money at them.
Shut up and take my money!
And I think a lot of people would too. Fallen Order. Fallen Order was a game that I thoroughly enjoyed. I really enjoyed Fallen Order. But it lacked anything to really make it stand out. It was a smart and safe decision by EA to produce a game that at the time they needed a serious win. They were hemorrhaging money from the Battlefront nonsense. They were recovering from that. Everything with FIFA and the Ultimate Team stuff, which I assume will carry over to NHL and Madden. They just bought over BioWare, made Andromeda, which bombed. Focused their efforts and a lot of their money into Anthem on the expectation that that was going to win. That was going to be the win for them. No, it tanked even harder than Andromeda did. They needed a serious win at that point. So, the only thing that they had going for them was Apex Legends. Respawn was doing that. Free-to-play mechanic, or business model rather. Microtransactions inside that you don't necessarily need to go for. And it was making money. It was doing well. They were modeling it off of Fortnite. So they gave it to the development team who created Titanfall 1 and 2, both solid games, but were stupidly released in between Call of Duty and Battlefield and just got choked out. There was no way they were recovering from that, or going to succeed in that. So they gave it to them, who produced a game that had their movement mechanics. It had stuff from, or aspects from like Tomb Raider, from Uncharted. It had combat that was very kind of like Dark Souls in its timing and its difficulty. It didn't do anything spectacular that was new, but it took everything from other games that we already loved. And they produced a game that was actually pretty solid. Can't say that it was bad. The ending was fantastic. The character was pretty good. And it introduced a very interesting concept about the extended universe. What about all these Jedi that survived Order 66? Because there's going to be some. And you get to experience that in the game. Not gonna lie, it's actually terrifying, but totally badass at the same time. A second one to that could be quite good. I'm not sure where they would go with it, but it would be quite a fun game. On a more personal level, Republic Commando. I played through that on stream. I obviously at this point I'm a very, 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 very small streamer, but I took a chance to see if Republic Commando would grow me. Spoiler, it did not. However, it was a fun game to play, but it's a lot smaller than I remember. I played through it in like 3 days. It basically meant there was no load screens. I would go from one area to the next, and it would come up, loading, done, and that was it. It was seamless the whole way through. And the characters were great. The gameplay was fun. The atmosphere was really good. It was a really good game. And it created an open ending for a sequel, which we never got. But it's there. You can see that there should be a sequel for this game. And I would personally love to go back and have some fun with Scorch, Fixer, and Sev. From when that game came out, which was, would have been 2003? Maybe later? Attack of the Clones kind of time, which I think was about 2003. So much has happened since then. All the prequels, all the Clone Wars, all of Rebels, so much stuff. You could have this huge, in-depth Republic Commando game where you're doing all these covert missions based around Clone Wars and then going into Order 66. My God, it could be so much fun. Especially if you know that moment's coming, but you don't know when. And if it paired you with a Jedi that you eventually grow accustomed to, and then you have to gun them down, it could be quite a difficult moment. It could be like in Call of Duty when we see Ghost get shot by Shepard. One of those moments that's like, no! How can you do this to us? And as a left field kind of selection, which I actually saw someone on Twitter mention, I'd not really thought about it, was Star Wars Pod Racer. I remember playing that as a kid and absolutely loving it, and playing quite a lot of it. Someone suggested in response to it that that wouldn't really work, but perhaps if you created a game that was similar to like a Star Wars Grand Theft Auto with the racing aspect on the side, that would be the pod racing that you could take part in. I don't know about that element, but certainly pod racing with the up-to-date graphics, these big grand arenas and tracks and everything that you could take part in. Oh, that would be so much fun. Especially if you had a customizable racer with, like, you can go out and buy parts and whatnot. Go up against people like Gazgano, Ben Quadranero, Dudbolt, and of course Sebulba. Like, if you had to take on all these named racers that are obviously going to be better than other people you're up against, I think that could be a really fun game. Did it work in the movie? That's open to debate, but I think as a game it could be a lot of fun to play. So, whilst Ubisoft is a company I am apprehensive about, I will give them the benefit of the doubt, and I will probably still buy anything they make because it's Star Wars, and I'm a whore for Star Wars. But EA's work, Ubisoft, other people are making it all under the Lucasfilm Gaming label? Franchise? Tag? No, company. I'm hopeful for the future of Star Wars games, because we've struggled recently. There hasn't been anything that really has been spectacular, and Fallen Order being better than the rest was not exactly a tall order. You know, it wasn't asking a lot of Respawn to produce a game that we didn't instantly shit on. I'd like to think that it didn't get shat on so quickly, but it was good. So, yeah, I would really like to see more of these, and I'm hopeful that there will be some stuff. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. We're done. Woo! Be sure to join us on Twitch. I would very much like to have you there. As I said, link will be underneath. And you have a good one. We will see you at another time. If I remember to do these videos, or at least have the inspiration to do something. Yeah. Until then, bye!